Hello everyone, with the 3 ways today again with you to share amazing topics. Today's topic is how to deal with struggles, emotions and in general spiritual blocks, which are the practices that we can follow to feel better and to be present. So Sandy and Glenn are gonna join us now. And of course, if you have any favorite practice, share it with us because we will share ours.
How are you? You're in a different place again.
Yes.
But where now? Where in the world is Francesca today?
Ciao Glenn. In London.
Nice.
London.
Welcome back. Yeah, welcome back to London.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, America è London, New York e lei è London.
Yeah, we are American. You know what they say about Manhattan, which is where I am, right? They say Manhattan is a small island off the coast of Europe.
It is beautiful.
Yeah.
So many people going there say the same, so must be true.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's beautiful, but it's Manhattan. Sorry, Sandy.
Wait,
Love
did you just call us ugly?
Listen, I grew up in New York. I grew up in Jersey. You know this.
You grew up in the butthole.
No.
Every beautiful woman has one of those too.
New Jersey.
That's not Manhattan. That's not Manhattan.
Manhattan is not. There's a stench. The juice of Manhattan. You know the stench. There's nowhere else in the world that smells like it. It comes up in that steam from the sewers through the laden of pretzel wrappers from the street vendors and soda cans and layers of stench that has manifested itself in goo over the curbs.
I'm just saying, you sound like a boomer because you're speaking of pre-Giuliani Manhattan. It's a different place. Anyway, look, we match. You're wearing, is that brown? Are you wearing brown, Glenn?
Me? Not
Yeah,
wearing.
what color?
What?
30.
Glenn doesn't even notice the color.
What color is your shirt? What color?
Oh, like a. I have no idea what color it is. It's like an army green or something, or a light. I don't know. It's all they're called fresh clean tees. I have my closet. It's all the same shirt, just different colors. My daughter's like, Dad, it's so sad. You have one thing. I'm like, hey, that's how I like it.
I'm colorful inside. The best answer is to dive deep into the question.
That is really good. All right, guys. So, topic today. What are we doing?
Topic today, how to deal with the struggle of overwhelming emotions. Because as we know, dear team, emotions, which is energy in motion, even if it's bad or good, is never negative. It becomes negative and overwhelming in the moment we suppress them or reject them or avoid them. So if you want, we can share a few practices how to deal with these situations.
I love this topic. Glenn did the most amazing, powerful, wonderful, and even very warm and close feeling workshop this past Saturday, and I got to join in. One of the things Glenn taught to overcome negative emotion, old negative limiting beliefs, Glenn can speak about it, was a tapping technique that I would love, Glenn, if you're willing to, for you to share today.
Yeah, we'll run through a tapping technique for everybody. It takes a few minutes for everybody to come on, and so we'll do a group tapping exercise, which is amazing for any kind of stress or emotion, and balancing yourself, even letting go of cravings. There's pretty much no limits to tapping. You can do it with limiting beliefs. You can do it for pain. I do it with smokers to make them quit smoking, and it's really good. So we'll do the magic 6 in a little bit. So we'll end with that. So what's your stress technique, Miss Sandy? And then we'll ask Francesca her emotional stress technique, and then I'll share some tapping.
Yeah, if we were were to go into all the techniques, it would probably take an entire weekend to talk about it. I'm going to just pull up something that came from the very last conversation I had this morning with a client, which is we worked on both her pain and her ADHD. And believe it or not, those things can very well be linked, right? It's not that ADHD causes pain or pain causes ADHD, but I'll give you an example of what occurred. We spoke a lot about getting aligned because she said, I met with a doctor and he suggested that I take a particular medication. And this is somebody who's been to the best neurologist in the world because we are in Manhattan. She's been to the best pain doctors in the world, the best people giving advice on ADHD, and she's been through all of the things, and yet still, while at moments she's found little inklings of, oh, I feel a little bit better, at the end of the day, nothing is fixed, right? It all just keeps coming back, and sometimes it comes back worse. And so she said, Sandy, what do you think about me taking this particular medication that the doctor recommended? And I said, of course, we don't give medical advice, nor would we even want to. It's not what we do. But what I can do is help you align with your decision from an empowered, emotional standpoint. She's getting advice from everyone in every which way, and she really had to learn that what it comes down to when we take action, we've talked about this before, action, whether it's to take a medication or to not, always work with your doctor, of course, but when your doctor is even giving you this option and you feel safe to take the option, understand action only comes from two places. Either one, to overcome a negative emotion, which means to smother it and cover it up, and that never works ultimately in the end, or action comes from going toward very clearly your definiteness of purpose emotionally. I know I want the red car and I know I want the boyfriend, but what is your emotional reason why? And that's usually split energy for people. So it's a lot of words to say this. Understand that when you make decisions, is it coming from push or pull? Am I being pushed from behind? Is it this craving that's taking over me, right? Is it the bad husband I want to get rid of? Is my decision to go in this direction coming from push? Don't do it. Don't make the decision yet. Or is it coming from pull, where you feel pulled to do something, a passion, right? So how do you overcome a negative emotion? And what did we do in this situation? She's got negative emotion around pain and a really good excuse for it. She's got negative emotion around frustration with ADHD, and she has a really good excuse for it. So we did all kinds of exercises to get aligned. We could go through 1,000 of them. Just understand that it's important to get in a place where you really start to hear your inner wisdom. And she's like, well, it's coming from frustration because I'm not happy. And I said, then don't make a decision yet. But my frustration is real. Yes, it is. But that's not the place where you make the decision from. So you want to overcome negative emotion and making bad decisions and having a bad life because of it? When you recognize that you're in it, get aligned before making the next step. So we did stuff to get her aligned. One, of course, of the things we did was hypnosis to relieve the resistance. And in hypnosis, we rehearse her future and we do all kinds of things. That was yesterday. She texted me this morning with this most amazing, and then we had a conversation about it. She said, you're not going to believe this, but I woke up with this amazing idea and this impulse, and it was different than what the doctor said. So I went and I followed and I did the thing. She said, Sandy, once I did this thing that out of the blue came to me this morning, she said, instantly my pain went away and my brain fog got clear. And she said, and none of it came from anyone else but me. And I had to tell you that. I said, right. Because when we as healers, when we as uplifters, when we as inspirers, guides, counselors, when we guide people and do our job and do it well, the best job we can do is point them to their own inner wisdom. So I called it she got out of the blue. She had an idea, an inspiration, out of the blues. The out of the blue is your out of the blues. So
beautiful, out of the blue.
It's the new impulses and it's the new inner guidance you get, and you start to learn to listen to your own intuition, and nobody can do it better for you than you, and any good healer knows how to point you to you. There's my answer.
Yeah, that's a lot of words.
Beautiful, but Sandy is also very philosophical and we love it. Yes,
I
yes.
was
No,
doing
we totally
you a
get
favor
it.
by filibustering until more people came on, so, so you can have a bigger audience for your tapping. You're welcome.
Yes.
But it's good stuff.
No,
It's
it's
good
beautiful
stuff.
because we share our ways, which are called the three ways. To put it on a
That,
practical base, guys, I do wanna, of course, it's different from yours, which is so it's even better. So we can combine all our thoughts and feelings. On a personal base, I speak the truth of what I feel, either negative or positive, alone to myself or to someone. And of course, is a risk because you might change the energy of the connection. But for me, truth is the most important of all because that's how I move authentically, even within my emotions, because you must trust your emotions. How do you have energy in motion if you trust it? If you don't trust it, it becomes poison thought. So for me, it's very important to trust your emotions, which energy motion, negative or positive. If it's on an experience base, I create this experience where I use my senses. So either I cook or I smell my favorite incense, I listen to music, I close my eyes, yes, I put oil, on my body. I basically create the experience where I awake my senses, and that's to feel at peace. But to be honest, for me, to get rid of or to increase a positive emotion, it depends if it's negative or positive, is to speak the truth to yourself first. Otherwise, you live in this squeeze. And you lose power yourself. So for me, emotion is a power, and you must respect it.
I'm going to look up a quote from this morning on my meditation timer because it's just what you're talking about. It says, happiness is when you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. And that's by Gandhi. So when you think and say and do, if those align,
Yes,
then
of
you're
course.
happy. Then
But
you're happy.
we are not the same in every moment. To be authentic means that we are not robots, because of course, if you have, we will have robots looking humans, and they will be so kind, non-stop. They could be. But that's, in my opinion, not being good. Being good means being present in what it is. So when I do workshops along others, for example, I work differently. I make them write each emotion and someone else reads it. So in this case, there is less shame, and also there is not maybe the right advice, but it's you become the observer of your own emotion. And so as soon as you also don't agree with someone else's advices, you know exactly what to do. So there is less diplomacy, but there is truly speaking for standing for what you feel within yourself, at least. So, we all feel emotions. So the idea is to become the observer, but also to feel the truth of this emotion.
Really good. I hear a lot of what you're saying is finding a natural and your own dopamine hit.
Yeah.
Because we all need that dopamine hit. Too many people reach for things that are then addictive. But you're talking about things that we can do to find our own dopamine hit. Listen to music, enjoy good food, right? Breathe, go for a run, meditate, all those things that raise your own dopamine levels. And if you can do that before getting aligned, right? If you could do that before going into situations, much better. If you didn't do it before, or even if you did, and then you find yourself in a situation that's really bringing up a lot of negative emotion, in that moment, if you can, right in that moment, raise your own dopamine because you practiced how, when it was easier, that's when you really start to master this thing about negative emotion. Because you're never afraid that it's going to happen because you learn, oh, getting out ahead of it is the best, but even if I catch it in the middle, that's even harder. And I just did this, get aligned again, get aligned again, get aligned again.
Yes, absolutely. We get aligned speaking the truth. Otherwise, we become a bit, I don't want to be too harsh, but we become disaligned with ourselves. Exactly. Glenn, what do you think about this?
well, I think that both of you have thrown out a lot of great concepts, but I think I'm missing a real clear action. So, like Sandy, the things that you said, yes, listening to music, doing this, doing that, and Francesca, all those things work. But I think more specifically, like each one of us has like one or two things that when we choose to do them can ground us and bring us back from that emotional edge. And so you listed a lot of things, and any of those things can work if we choose to do those with that.
If we choose to, absolutely.
It's easy to just stay stuck and sometimes not do those things that you know will make you feel better, just because you're kind of stuck in that negative space where it's like, yeah, I know that would make me feel better, but I don't want to do that right now. You know, that's a common thing kind of we all
It's
feel,
not
right?
easier, in fact, Glenn. It's more difficult because then you have to deal with it even worse. Yeah.
Yeah, and Glenn and I had a great conversation on the phone yesterday. And I just love to share that we are such good friends outside of here that here is just a continuation of the conversation that's going on all the time anyway. And I love you guys so much. So we talked yesterday, and I was telling Glenn that my son showed me this TikTok video where you have a guy and then he's talking to another guy, but the other guy is really himself. You know how they split the screen like that, right? So he says, let me ask you a question. Let's say you're out in the middle of the ocean on a boat and you don't know how to swim. You're the only guy on the boat. Nobody's there to save you if you jump in. Are you going to jump in and go for a swim? And then it cuts to the other guy who's the other version of himself. And he's like, I'm not sure if this is a trick question, but I'm just going to say, no, I do not jump in and go for a swim if I don't know how to swim and nobody's there to save me. He said, of course, that's the obvious answer. I'll ask you one more. Let's say somebody hands you a glass of water and that water is dirty and it smells bad. Glenn thinks it's from Manhattan. Truth is, New York City is the best water in the world. So somebody hands you a glass of dirty water. You're not even that thirsty. Do you drink the water? And so then the other guy says, again, I'm not sure if this is a trick question, but probably the obvious answer is no, I do not drink the water. They go on with a few examples like this, and then he gives the reveal. And he says, look, imagine you're talking to your future self. Now explain to that future self.
But your future self might be different from what it is now. So for me, this is a bit of an illusion. Sorry, Sandina. To your future self, it's you in the moment. Maybe tomorrow you feel something different of yourself. So which is your future self?
The future self that is going to be successful in anybody's future 100% of the time is the one who's going to not choose to jump in the water in the middle of the ocean when they don't know how to swim and nobody's there to save them.
Yeah,
okay?
but yes, of course, we jump always. To be honest, we jump.
And when we look at this as an action step that Glenn offered up, an action step we can take in any given moment right now, because your future self could be you 3 hours from now. And in 30 years from now too, but it could be you 3 hours from now. When you say, look, I could go to the gym, but I don't have to go to the gym. If you pause in that moment, here's an action step to take. And you have this inner conversation that takes all of 10 seconds. You are more likely to get up and do the thing that's not only going to make your body feel good, it's going to change the chemistry of your brain. It's going to lead you to having a healthy shake instead of an entire pizza. So this one action step, now you explain to your future self why you didn't take the step. You're likely going to get up and take that step. So that is yet another action I offer to people who are not like Francesca. I like that idea.
I love
Even
that.
my future self likes that idea.
I think you are such an amazing hypnotist, Sandy, really. No, because also you give so many different perspectives in one. So, Glennino, because we totally get Sandy, what is your practical way based on what Sandy said?
So here's my
amazing
things that I do. One, to manage stress in my life is the gym. That for me is my always relieve my stress. And then two, I turn to tapping a lot, which we'll do right now. But before we do that, you quoted Gandhi, right?
Yes, I did. I'll read the quote again because it's really good, and we just had a bunch of people join us. Happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony.
Now, I used to. Did you learn about what he did with kids and bed?
Oh, God. Are we putting him on the cancel list? Did he eat them because he was hungry?
No, he was inappropriate. There's a lot of stories.
Oh, no.
I know, which really made me kind of go, oh, come on, bro. You're seen as the spiritual leader, but I don't think he is. If I'm wrong, I'd love to be wrong. But I spent some time looking into it, and it looks like, yeah. And speaking of that, the same with Elvis. My daughter ruined the movie. Elvis.
If he were alive today, he'd be doing the real Jailhouse Rock.
He was 24 hanging out with 13-year-olds. And we worship this guy like he's some kind of, yes, I mean, Elvis was Elvis, right? But that's really, there is no universe where I can respect someone who's 24 doing things with 13-year-olds. That shouldn't be done. You know?
Good. So let's reverse bad stuff right now, Glenn. As you get into the tapping, I want to give a little scientific background on how this works. Imagine your brain works on batteries. Okay, so we're setting you up. Imagine your brain works on batteries, and you have that old tape player where you'd push, like, play and record would be the big button, and the record is the red little button in the middle of the big button. Okay, so you've got your little tape player. Can you imagine putting cassette tape, shutting it, hitting play and record? Okay, the old cassette tape, 1,000 batteries go in the bottom. All right, if there are 10 batteries in that tape player and 9 of them are lined up right, but one of them is flipped around, where the plus and minus are flipped around, no matter how hard you push those buttons, is your tape going to play?
I'm going to say no.
No, it is not, but I got a thumbs up. It is not going to play. What if you pray? What if you sit next to that tape player and talk to God? Is that tape player then going to play?
I'm going to say no.
Yeah, that's right. What if you jump in the ocean and you can swim? Is that tape player going to play?
But that's how you learn.
It is not going to play. And it doesn't matter if you're a good person or a bad person, if you pray, if you don't pray, if you're gay or if you're straight. It's not going to play because the battery's flipped around. Why is that battery flipped around? When we look at your brain, it's mostly lined up okay. Even the people we don't like, their brain is mostly lined up okay, but they have a battery flip. Let's talk about what that flip is. It's called secondary benefit. I want to lose weight, but I can't because the benefit is the extra weight protects me. I want to be in charge of 10 committees at my kid's school, but I also have a job and I also raise kids, and it gave me a nervous breakdown. The nervous breakdown, the secondary benefit, the good reason for having the nervous breakdown is it makes you take a break where you otherwise would not have taken a break. When we look at any of the negative things we have in our lives, including addictions, there's always a good reason to do it. It doesn't mean it's the right choice to make, but there's always a secondary benefit. That's the flip. So
the consequence and the good factor, the feeling good factor. The
subconscious mind makes the bad thing familiar, and it's familiarity that the subconscious mind seeks. That's the way we're built, all of us. It seeks familiarity. Something that's unfamiliar is bad. So someone who doesn't have money, never had money, doesn't like people with money, they're jealous of people with money, that person wins the lottery. If you look up the statistics, within 2 years, that money is always gone. Because the subconscious mind is like, money, bad, unfamiliar, get rid of it. So it looks like self-sabotage, when actually it's a good person who's probably smart, probably kind, but the subconscious mind said money is bad, get rid of it, and it will find a way to make things go wrong, right? So all we need to do is take that battery that was getting some kind of secondary benefit. We must name, Glenn's going to teach us how to do it. We must name that secondary benefit, so we bring the familiar in so the subconscious mind stays awake and listens. Because if we don't bring in, well, even though there's a good reason I'm holding on to this extra weight, even though there's a good reason I always go to weed when I want to go to sleep, even though there's a good reason for this, right? It has to feel comfortable and familiar. Give it that first, then start to slowly make the switch. And what Glenn's about to offer basically makes the switch of the battery in the brain so the subconscious mind feels safe with the sort of bad thing it had. And then we slowly turn it toward what it is you truly desire with the part of your mind that knows better. Or am I wrong? Am I not explaining your thing right? You keep cringing at me.
No, and these system beliefs are beautiful, but sometimes people care less about what people care the most. So it's not about seeing it as bad or good. Sometimes the energy of people goes somewhere else. Because we live in a society where people care, most of them, about the same things. And there are certain people that care completely about other things. I don't think as we always say, guys, there is bad and wrong. It's about choices of life. It's about choosing our own obsessions, also our own tastes, our own choices.
Yeah. So no, I'm not cringing. I'm trying to
So
stay
regarding
focused.
yeah, sorry, Glenn.
Yourself right now. You're in your
What's it?
fizz. You're in your high fizz right now. Physical, the flowery storytelling self, which is great. Everything you said is 100% right. That's a lot of words for a simple
You know
man
what?
like me.
We're also in different time zones. And you haven't been to the gym yet today, I'm gonna guess. I've already done a hot yoga class. I've already got my
Uh,
black espresso on ice. So yeah, we're in
coffee.
different.
I need coffee
So
for all those stories.
basically, fundamentally, what we said, dear friends, is that you have to trust in the moment of feeling your emotions. Either you jump, either you speak your truth. The trust in yourself is the first element to avoid emotional dramas, because in the moment you trust, you see clear. In the moment you don't trust, then overwhelming situations start to set in.
Jackie said, Glenn, you look like you have a migraine.
We're trying to keep up.
We get rid of the migraine, I did.
Glenn, did you even make your dirt tea for yourself yet today?
I'm running like in first gear, and you guys are like in fifth gear. That's what's happening. So I'm
Oh,
trying
dude,
to.
I've got an American monster truck with big wheels flipping itself over. It's so much fun. You should try this.
So here's what we're gonna do. So what Sandy described is absolutely right, and it is taking that one battery and putting it back in. And at the same time, when we say that word trust, like Francesca, the word trust, a lot of people, especially a lot of people I've worked with, and Sandy too, you've worked with this, it's not safe to trust themselves.
That's the main problem of illnesses, to be honest. Mental problems, emotional problems.
And
Yeah.
which is why in the tapping that you're about to offer, which is such a great
That's
technique.
where everything starts. Yeah,
we start with the thing that's so safe to say, that allows that scared part of your mind, the subconscious mind that has fight or flight, it allows it to feel trust so it doesn't go into fight or flight, because when it does, it blocks the good messages from coming in. You have to start with feeling safe. You're absolutely right. You have to.
You do.
I can trust even the wilderness, not feeling safe. Sorry, Sandy, not to go against, but for me, trust is a different sensation and meaning. I trust so much in my own intuition and feelings that, of course, it brings me also to trust my emotions and to let them see for what they are, not being scared of losing myself or of losing the power in a situation or of losing a friend. For me, the trust is not about ego at all. It's about trusting in my inner voice, because if I don't, I feel sick.
What I hear you describing is, if we were looking at a before and after picture, the before is the person who's scared, who's in negative emotion and doesn't know what to do and is asking what I can do. Francesca, you're the after. You're already in the good place. You already feel this way. And look at what you end up looking like. Francesca, so you represent someone who is the after part of the work. You've done the work, so you are already in the good place. You don't have to keep doing the work.
We have to inspire people to be as we are, exactly. In the moment you are, people close to you, they become. It's truly contagious energy and wisdom, in my opinion, not by listening, but by living it.
Glenn, you have an audience of 2,000 people. You want to do the tapping right now?
So here's the deal. Tapping is, we know with acupuncture, we don't just stick needles wherever they want to stick a needle, wherever they feel like it should be. There's specific points, there's specific nerve endings, meridian lines, where they put those needles in. The same is true for acupressure. We have pressure points that are more effective than others. So when we look online and we look up the emotional freedom technique, and this is my #1 stress relieving technique.
Beautiful.
And I use it all of my smoking clients, all of my vaping. You can quit smoking, you can quit vaping, you can let go of any triggered session by doing this. If anything triggers you or you're out of balance, right back in balance. So there's many points, but we use the magic 6. I always teach the magic 6. And here's what we do. We take 2 fingers, and everybody watching, sit down. You got to take your phone out of your hand and put it so you can see this without holding it, because we're going to need your hands free. So we take 2 fingers right now on the back of your hand, and we start tapping. However, not super hard and not super light. Just, yeah, Jackie, you follow along with me. You said, or everybody else watching. So this is now there's the 6. I want you to think about a question mark on your face. Number 1 is the top of the forehead. That's the first pressure point. Number 2 is the third eye. Number 3 is the temple. Number 4 is the cheekbone, the very top ridge of the cheekbone underneath the eye. Don't poke your eye. And also, when you're doing your temple, don't be too hard, because you don't want to give yourself a headache, but you need to feel the pressure. And then, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the clavicle, which isn't the collarbone, but it's that little V we have on our chest, those 2 little bones right here. And then 6 is a grounding, a squeezing of the wrist. So if you're right-handed, we tap with our right hand. If you're left-handed, you tap with your left hand. You can do it on both sides. Mediterranean me, 52, very cool. So, but generally, left hand, use your left hand. If you're left-handed, use your left hand. If you're right-handed, we use your right hand. So now the first step is, what am I feeling? If you are feeling fear, or if you're not feeling right, or you're feeling stress, or any of those things both of you just mentioned, I'm not feeling trust for myself. I don't know how to make this decision. Or, you know, you're on the phone with somebody and you're like, damn it, and you're mad and you're pissed off. We get in touch with, what am I feeling? All right, let's say I'm feeling right now. Where in my body am I feeling angry? Well, it might be in your head, it might be in your chest, it might be in your stomach. Wherever that emotion is, you get in touch with it. And that's part of the process is, what am I feeling and where am I feeling it? And then there's a mantra that we use, a verbal mantra. If you look online, some people will say something like, even though I'm feeling a lot of fear, I deeply and completely accept myself. Or even though I'm really angry right now with this person, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I'm whatever you may be experiencing, even though I feel like a cigarette right now, I deeply and completely accept myself. That's one way of doing it. I just do let it go. It's more direct. It's simple. So if I'm feeling stress right now, let's say I'm feeling anxiety over money. Oh my gosh, how am I going to pay my bills? And you're like, man, that feels like it's in my chest. It's like a level 10 in my chest. Then, whatever it is for you, identify it, feel it in your body. Then we start tapping. I'm going to call this out. Start tapping on your foot, top of your head. And say out loud, let it go.
Let it
Breathe in.
go.
Let it go. Close your eyes. Breathe all the way in. Let it go. Nice and firm. You need to feel your voice in your body as you are tapping on that pressure point. Let it go. Breathe in. Then we move to our third eye and we say again, let it go. Let it go. It's got to be done out loud. Let it go. Can't do it in your head. It's got to be out loud.
I'm only not doing it out loud so I don't interrupt you. Do you want me to do it out loud?
No. Let it go. Then move to your temple and say, let it go.
Let it go.
Let it go. And then breathe in. Breathe out. Let it go. My shoulders just dropped already. Move to that cheekbone. Eye. You say, let it go. Crap. And
Curry, I need your friend. I don't know what's happening. Maybe there is no connection.
let it go. Then squeeze your wrist, breathe in, breathe out, let it go. Then you open your eyes and you check in on a scale of 10 to 0. Where has that gone down now? And it will always reduce it. And we keep doing that cycle until it's completely gone. So for smokers, I'll have them do that till the craving.
Amazing, Glenn.
It works every time. With vaping, it works every time. You don't need it, but when you do that, craving is gone. When you do that, anger is gone, stress is gone. We can do it with beliefs. If we have a lot of beliefs about life and ourselves, we can think about a fear, a negative belief about ourselves, and we can identify it and we can let it go. Like if you don't feel good enough, like, all right, bring that feeling up. God, I just don't feel like I can ever get there. Let's let it go. And then you do that sequence. The next thing you know, that is gone and you're free and your life is better. So I use tapping a lot in my life for stress relief. So tapping
Beautiful.
and the gym, and of course meditation, and then listening to a lot of words from Sandy and Francesca is another stress relief.
No, for me it's about the
Francesca, you were just
experience.
talking for the last 20 minutes straight.
I
Let's
don't
just
talk
point
much
that out.
for stress relief. I would say for me it's about the experience. That's why I would rather enjoy a session that is about energy more than me hypnotizing, but most of all because I would do it for love and to my family, because for me it's very intimate. But for me it's about the experience of activation of senses. So, when you activate your senses is a stress relief. And I absolutely love the tapping, and I absolutely love the hypnotism that Sandy also gave us. So I think it's all about the people you attract.
Yeah.
Jackie, thank you for your very nice words. And Glenn, I genuinely feel amazing with one round of that. And I think half of it is your voice and the other half is the actual exercise. It feels so good. Thank you. Genuinely.
It's a beautiful thing to really get into. And it works. And it's what I like it. It's very measurable. It's something, it's an action step I can take right now to feel better. And that's really, that
yeah.
word.
And I got to tell you, even though you were completely making fun of me this whole time and Francesca was laughing at you, I still feel that good. Like even in the swirl of all your guys' shit, I still feel that good.
Yes. Most important is to laugh and cry, both.
Listen.
Never make fun of you. I'm expressing love by teasing you.
I know it. I know
Never
it. I know. Your teasing is love fluffing. I just feel it and I know it. Yeah. I want to offer one last thing we can do, a doing, feeling thing that is one of my most potent offerings that I will often use to then launch into hypnosis with clients. It's very simple. You could do it for 1 minute. You could do it as long as you want. Usually within the first round or two, you're already feeling it. So you can keep your eyes open or closed. You can do it anytime, anywhere. I do this while I'm walking down the street. It still works. But here you're sitting on something, right? So go ahead and with your mouth, just take one yawn and really pretend it, but do it. Make yourself yawn, even if it's a fake yawn, because it aerates your whole body and it begins to open the airflow sensation in your entire system. After you've actually done a yawn, now gentle open mouth breathing to the bottommost part of your pelvis. And this place that you're sitting on between your two sit bones, the flesh between your two sit bones, as you breathe in, I want it to be like you're kissing what you're sitting on. And at the same time, then when it's your natural time to exhale, don't push the air out, let it fall out. So when you breathe all the way down to the lowest part of the pelvic floor, so your flesh at the bottom kisses your chair, the other thing it does as you continue this breath is it makes your belly button go out. So purposely make your belly button go out. Push your jeans out further. When you exhale, let it fall out so much that your jeans stay out. Don't pull the belly back on the exhale. So it's an inhale that presses the belly button out and the bottom flash anal sphincter down. And on the exhale, let it fall out and keep the jeans pressed out. It's unlike what we do in yoga and the gym where we pull it in. Let it go for now. You can do the gym later. All right. So just do a few of these mouth breaths where you inhale, press the belly button out, bottom flesh down. On the exhale, let it fall out, and you'll find that this is actually, even though it feels odd, Francesca may not even be doing it because it feels odd.
No, it doesn't
But it's
feel odd.
Oh, you like it? Good. So it's actually our most natural breathing, just as hypnosis is our most natural state, which is why it naturally and automatically feels good. It's how we breathe in deep states of sleep. And so it starts to feel, it takes about 5 minutes if you really do, but it starts to feel like the entire body becomes a sense organ, and it completely does that battery shift. So it's a thing to do that you feel physically. You're completely focused on the breathing. Emotionally, energetically, and psychologically, it gives you a shift. And after 5 minutes, you feel high doing it.
Absolutely. With the breathing work, you feel the magic. Or you can breathe with your soul and feel the experience, stress release, going to the temples.
What is that? What is that?
Sometimes when I cannot go to temples, I read about temples because they bring me back in another era where, of course, we all come from, and it's beautiful. You release the stress because you are not in the present, not even in the past. You are within your soul, which is beautiful. Yeah.
We're learning
Nice.
about you. I love this. I didn't know you read temple books. Are you just looking at the pictures? Are you just looking at
I have
pictures?
so many temple books, guys, because for me to discover temples and to see the meaning behind it, it adds meaning to my soul conceptions.
Do we have a guest on with us from Africa?
Yes, Thakur, an incredible friend from India. I don't know, maybe his connection is no good.
Oh, it's India. Sorry.
Yeah, I forgot that we're there. I saw that photo. I'm like, all right.
Duck.
Somebody's with us.
So amazing and stuff. So all good. That's interesting that I wouldn't think to hold my stomach out on the exhale.
It flips the battery.
It's a very different way of feeling it. Because always it's, I think about diaphragmatic breathing, breathing out, and then breathing back in. And sometimes I think about collapsing the breath, so you're not even pushing it out. You breathe it in, and then just let it dissolve through you instead of exhaling it in that way. But I never thought about actually holding the stomach out. That's interesting.
Do you genuinely feel a shift from the breathing?
Well, my mind already gets confused, which is a good thing, because it's like it's a strange sensation. Yeah, I'm going to try that, play with that a little bit. It's a very different sensation.
Thank you. And if anybody watching this is a hypnotist, it's a really nice induction. It's a nice, lovely feeling induction. You talked about the confusion of it, and then from there you can move into a progressive, as I was starting to do with the body becoming a sense organ.
Yeah, I like it. We'll play with that. Very cool stuff. It's another Thursday. Now it's time to start my day. Get that cup of coffee.
Beautiful, guys. It's the morning for you. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have to forget.
But a good day.
Really good.
So,
really good.
Let's end by saying this. Everybody can repeat this phrase after me, okay?
Yeah.
You're going to say that something wonderful is going to happen today.
Something wonderful is going to happen today.
Something wonderful is going to happen today, tomorrow, and after tomorrow.
And I wish for 3 more wishes.
I knew Francesca was going to do it. I already knew it. I knew
it's Glenn. That's why we're smiling also. Exactly.
I still love it. It's amazing. Jackie just said it. When you wake up in the morning, I say that so often to myself. And if we say it at bedtime, something wonderful is going to happen tomorrow. Then we wake up and when we open our eyes, I say, something wonderful is going to happen today. Beautiful energy. All right, my lovely souls. I will see all of you very soon.
I love the team.